It looks like we're back, gang. How about that? Let's drink a little water first. Gotta stay hydrated, gang. Make sure that you stay hydrated. Funny how people don't realize the importance of that. It's like such a huge thing. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna look at this reference. This character here. It's always exciting when you get to see these pages colored and then these characters come to life. It's interesting. Well, starting a new stream. Hello to the one person watching. All right. just got a package delivered. Well, that's good because I've been expecting a package for a long time. And just today I'm like, where the hell's my package? Oh, so it's always nice. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to. My, I gotta put some music on. My computer's like, "Are you still there? Hello?" And say hi in the chat. Let me know who's here. I want to know who's here. Hold on, commercials. Hold on. Commercials. Hold on. All right, we're back. We are back. We're so back. Simple Arts is here. Good to meet you, Simple Arts. Colin is back. There you are again. Yes. Are you there? Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to step aside for a second. My computer's like, if you don't interact with it, it thinks you've walked away and then it stops, working. So, Colin, Hermetics, are you ready to go there? How did you learn about Hermetics to begin with? And how did you come across that field, that topic? The 7 Hermetic principles. I couldn't name them off. I know, as above, so below, and the law of gender, and there's several others that, like, I know them, but I don't know the name of them per se. And I'm aware of those things, I should say. Which is something you can look up easily. But are you there? Yes. So in our last stream, Colin had brought up the topic of Hermetics, and so the difficult topic to get into, if people aren't familiar with it already. I will say that, and this is something I don't even know if I should talk about, because I don't know if it's like rubs people the wrong way or is too weird for most people, but I'm very, very much interested and plugged into Gnosticism. And to me, Hermetics is kind of something of a map that allows you to navigate this world. And that really is a good question, is like where and how and what way does Gnosticism and Hermetics intersect? How could Hermetics be used to escape reincarnation? There is a question for AI right there, peeps. If someone could get on Grok right now, or any AI, and say, how can Hermetic principles be used to escape reincarnation within the Gnostic context? You could even say escape the demiurge. That's a damn good question. Let's see. Well, hello, that Mr. A. Hey, that Mr. A. All right, good to have you here, Mr. A. We're doing some comic book illustration today, as I often do. Colin says, knowing gives you more self assurance than faith ever could. I strongly agree. Wait, you're talking about Hermeticism? That is the topic for now. I talk about a lot of different interesting topics, politics, spirituality, AI, UFOs, aliens, many, many kinds of things. So it's not just an art stream, it's like a crazy insanity stream, only for people who like to do esoteric deep dives on those topics. Not for the normie, really. Although normies are welcome. Not trying to disqualify them. You got to help the normies out. Help a brother out. Anyway, what's the shakedown here? Wait, okay. Colin says, sorry, I need to ask. What does the F on the chest of your character represent? So, in this story, let's see if I can go back. The hold on. This guy is one of the good guys, and he's infiltrated the bad guy cult, whatever. And so they capture him. They figure out he's been playing them all along, and then they introduce him to a clone of him. They cloned him, and then they're going to use that clone, which is this guy, to infiltrate where he came from, the good guy world. And in fact, in the next page, you can see penciled into this page here, the clone knocks out our main character here in a nasty punch. And so I get the script from the writer, and he said on this character you want to put an F on his chest. But he never told me why. I do not know what the F stands for, so unfortunately, I can't answer that question. But I am going to quickly divert attention to the amazing Paddy Irishman who just showed up. Don Kent, now broadcasting in Irish time. Glad to catch the stream live again. Yes, my Irish brothers and sisters, I love you dearly. As you know, I'm part Irish. My dad used to tell me, you know, you're 100% Irish. That's not true, but he would be like, no matter what anyone tells you, you always say back to them that I'm 100% Irish, and don't you ever forget it. Otherwise, I'll be hitting you with me shillelagh. And I'll go get a nice pint of Guinness afterwards and celebrate being 100% Irish. Oh, it's grand. I love being Irish. It's great. I've got a lot of relatives over there and good friends as well. But I've never been there myself. Never been to the Emerald Isle myself. I feel terribly ashamed of it. Got to get myself over there right away. Anyway, I hope my Irish accent was not annoying. It was meant in love and pride and joy. So, I'm off today, which is a little weird. My schedule got pushed around. So I figure, why don't I jump on and do a live stream so that my friends in Europe can catch my show. So I got a lot of friends in Europe. And at some point, I am going to be heading over there to join the revolution, no doubt. To die for the cause is what I'll be doing. No, I don't know what I'll be doing in the futures. I actually have a pretty clear idea what I'll be doing in the future, but I do want to go to Europe. So anyway, should we get back to Hermeticism? Let's see what we got here. Let's read some chat first. Gotta read the chat, gang. That's what it's all about. It's all about you. All right, hold on. Let me, knowing gives, I don't know what the F stands for, so wait, why would you want to escape reincarnation? I don't want to do that no matter how much I suffer. I want to win this world back for us. Now that is heroic. That's amazing what you just said. And I want to do a deep dive into that conversation in just a minute. Let me read the chat first. Since behavior is very strongly determined by genetics, you can have the clone turn out to also be good. Ooh, deep dives by Victorian Time Traveler, my man. This is one of my OG fans right here, guys. Hats off to Victorian Time Traveler. That Mr. Ray says we could live 1,000 lives and suffer and rejoice in life if we have a bout of Guinness once in a while. Once in a while, eh? Oh my God, dude, you rocked, brother. I love you, man. That you just that hit me right in the heart, right in the feels. Colin Bruder says, Patty Irishman, same here with German time. Love your music, by the way. About half of all Cologne Carnival's songs are based on Irish songs. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. Skulls is here. Hello, Skulls. Welcome to the show. Hi. Welcome to the chat. Even one drop of Irish blood is like being fully Irish and all, within reason, that is. Billie Eilish got a really great response when she claimed the green. No kidding, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that means. Probably a text correction. Anyway, so, wow. Reincarnation. Are we really going there, guys? Are we really going there? Whoosh. So, could I be talked into? I could be talked into reincarnating here at will if and only if I have the power to leave at will. Meaning, reincarnation is a soul trap created by what the Buddhists call Mara and what the Gnosticists call the demiurge. And if you want to talk about quantum physics, what it is it's the science of slowing down light to form matter. I know that's pretty heavy, what I just said. That's a definite heavy deep dive, but I do a lot of studying on Gnosticism, quantum physics, AI, all of this heavy stuff. That's what I do, so we can get into that. I studied Buddhism for decades, and I lived in Asia for 5 years. Japanese, Chinese, and Tibetan Buddhism. And my understanding is that through later on, I got into Hermeticism, which led to Gnosticism. And I would currently call myself a Gnostic. Buddhism is Gnostic. There's Gnostic Christianity. It's just a different cosmology, very different cosmology. I'm not going to do a lecture on Gnosticism. You guys can look it up. But, and even the Odinists, Asatru, reincarnation is a part of our indigenous religions and belief systems in Europe. So that's not the question. The question is, should one choose to be reborn? And according to my understanding, you don't have a choice. You are tricked, you are deceived into being reborn. And that life is suffering. And yes, suffering has value in terms of wisdom and growth, and it's not so, but some of this stuff is going to get pretty cosmic and probably over the head of a lot of people, but I'm just going to go there. So sue me. Anyway, if in fact you were a Jesus or a Buddha, you can choose to be reincarnated at will anytime. And that's because you are a master of the Hermetic principles. But for the rest of us slugs, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. And the archonic forces that control this world and the cycle of reincarnation, they have access to the Akashic records. They know everything. They can use our belief systems at the time of death to convince us that, oh, we must go back. And they can appear as Jesus or Buddha or your mother or anything that is required to make you go back. But here's the thing, there's some question as to whether or not it's a matter of free will. There are, in the study of near-death experiences, I've come across reports where when you die, your soul is something like, try to think of it like a bee farm where they harvest honey, and your soul is kind of put into these sorts of mechanical, etheric, fourth dimensional bubbles in which you're taken to have parts of your soul extracted for the archonic forces to feed on. And I know that's so painful to even think of, to even imagine, that your instinct would be to, no, that can't be true. No, that's not true. No, I'll fall back on my belief system. So people who have died and come back to life and reported these kinds of experiences, you gotta think about that. You gotta kind of weigh that in. That's not the common. What am I trying to say? That's not what most people report, though. So that's some good news. I've probably lost most people by now. Now that people think, oh, this guy's out of his mind. He's a wackadoo. Just shut up and draw. Like that could be the case. But hey, you didn't want to. I want to talk about Hermeticism and these things. So anyway, let's, there's different spiritual technologies. I think that, Christianity is one. But I think you would want to owe it to yourself to look into Christian Gnosticism and think about that. I'm not here to preach or convince anybody of anything. I'm just sharing my thoughts and ideas on the topic, and you can do with it what you will. What else? Where am I going with this? Let's see. I got to get back to the chat because I lost the root of where I was starting off of. I'm Irish and German on my mom's side and Borderlands Scot on my dad's. Awesome. What an amazing mix. I got to read some comments here, you guys. Feck, sorry, let's live and love and drink and Guinness and fight forever. Yeah, God bless you. I love that spirit. That's the fucking way. That is the spirit right there, my man. I like that. And I think that, there's really a battle to be fought, in terms of us not only freeing our people from the you-know-whos, who I personally believe are like in league with the archons within the Gnostic cosmology. I've been studying this and I kind of have my theory, and I feel pretty convinced that's true. But to go farther, that it's not just a physical trap in this world, but it's a soul trap to bring us back to this world of which they are the, quote, chosen ones to control. So I'm taking the battle to a much higher field, much higher fighting ground, if you will, at least in this discussion. It's really, I feel like it's a kind of thing that I'm talking about it casually, but it's not a casual topic, It's a really, really heavy topic. Um, but there it is. I'm just sharing some thoughts on this, and now you know. There you go, and now you know. But I do love this concept of like, you know, fighting. You know, I like the warrior spirit. Um, it's a spiritual battle, though. It's politics is kind of like level. It's like the white belt of this topic. You know, it goes so much deeper. Um, it's hard to like think about this while I'm drawing too because I'm kind of spreading out my brain energy here. Um, what can I tell you? Well, it's easier for me to answer questions, I guess, than just freestyle. Let's see. That Mr. A sounds like Valhalla. Yes, Patty says didn't know about that Irish-German full connection. I was listening to the Rake earlier on the way home from work. Maybe there's a spot for German carnival music on the playlist. Cool. By the way, what time is it in Germany and what time is it in Ireland right now? In where I live, it's around 2:30 ish on the east coast of America. Mr. A says, "This is our life in this world right now, dude. Valhalla can't wait. Can wait." Here's an interesting thought. In a certain view, all dimensions are overlapping each other. Therefore, Valhalla is here now in this world. It's just that we're not on the frequency to see and experience it. So it's like, you know, when you look at ghosts and things of that nature, angels, devils, they can perceive us because they're in a higher dimension, but we can't perceive them because we're in a lower dimension. Each dimension subsumes the dimension beneath it. The fourth contains the third, the fifth contains the fourth, and so on. God being the summation of all dimensions at all times in all places. The culminate or the sum of all consciousness. So that's trippy. Well, like, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Oh boy, that'll get you flying. What else is going on here? Got some nice chill music in the background. Pretty cool. Let's do this. I've got my own comic book style. How about that? This is like a dope moment here. Anyway, what else is in the chat? I'm Irish and I read that. Mr. A says if I had to choose, I would choose to be reborn. But no, life is not about suffering. It's about overcoming things and getting on top of things and becoming a god. This is an interesting conversation. I am going to have to stream in my afternoons more often to be around people like you guys to have interesting convos. What should I say to that? What should I say to that? Well, I'll start off by saying that I do come from a Buddhist cosmological background. I think that to say that life is suffering is factual. I think the question would be, what does one do with that suffering? What is the meaning of that suffering? You know, I think that is that's where we could probably start a conversation. I don't think you can deny suffering in life. I think a lot of it has to do with how do you transmute the suffering of life. That's obviously important. So, excuse me, the Gnostic and the Buddhist perspective is to escape reincarnation. So that's the plan. That is what that is. So if you were to come from the thinking that I recognize reincarnation is real, but I'm not going to escape it. I do not want to escape it. I want to master it and dominate it and take over this world. So, in order to do that, you would actually have to become godlike from a human perspective. So, not God, not the ultimate God, not the Father of all existence, but rather lower G God. So that's, which is presumably, like the Buddha had godlike powers. Jesus had godlike powers. So these are from within the context of the conversation. Yes, those things they make sense, I guess, put it that way. Wow, heavy stuff, guys. Let's see, if I had to choose, I read that already. Victorian says, my mom definitely has an Irish temper. Oh, wow. Evening troops. Hey, Chief Moody, oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, step back. The main man is here, my Scottish friend, Chief Moody. How is your art coming along, buddy? How is your comic coming along? Very excited to hear about any progress that you got going on. I just did an art lesson in the last. Hold on. I would urge you to go back to the last video before this one because I did a lesson on teaching how to draw anatomy. And I go into male and female anatomy and stuff. It's for you, I think it'd be really beneficial. Talk about perspective drawing, blah, blah, blah. So check them out. I always want to do a Scottish accent on the show because I love the Scottish accent. It's really hard to do. It's easy to do an English accent and an Irish accent, but I'm trying to get my mind into a Scottish mode right now. See if I can. What's something Scottish people say that I could try to say? Maybe give me a sentence with some slang, some cool Scottish slang. Okay, Colin says, nah, you're starting to make more and more sense. Oh, cool. I've read the Nag Hammadi. Wow, good for you, man. And also Against the Gnostics by Platonius. I have not read Against the Gnostics. I should like to look at that. I think I lie somewhere in between. Both have good arguments. Interesting. Colin says, I recently translated a book. My God, you're a translator. That proved that every human has 3 brains in the head, heart, and guts. I know about the heart. I know that there's a kind of a brain, but the guts, that's fascinating. In the head, heart, and guts, that put a lot of things together for me. Fascinating. We've got 820 here. Oh, okay, wow. Okay. Mystery says, I've done some heavy drugs, never seen good or angels. I said God. I did see insect people through, though, and so did my friends. There are no angels and devils. There are other things, though. Well, I would push back on there are no angels and devils. I definitely would push back on that. But these these insect beings are most likely archons. They're most likely in the archonic field. In the UFO field, there are many, many, many reports of mantis looking aliens. I'm just, again, telling you what other people have said. I've never seen one. They say that they're benevolent, though, which is kind of hard to visualize. Like praying mantises are pretty fierce, nasty kind of creatures, so I don't know about that. But very fascinating. The fact that your friends saw that too is pretty serious, though. I think that kind of implies something there. You know what I mean? That it wasn't a hallucination, or that some form of communication might have been attempted. It's pretty serious stuff, dude. I was talking last night with a friend about DMT. She had done DMT. There, because apparently there's now some kind of university program where they have volunteers on what you call DMT drips, because the DMT high is like 5 minutes long or something, 5-10 minutes, and there's so many reports of like contact with other beings in the so-called DMT realm. And so these universities, or this specific university, has started a program where they have you on a drip. Like, you know what I mean by that? Like how you would get an IV drip in a hospital. They have DMT drips, so that you can be on DMT for over an hour. And the point of it is that they're trying to make contact with these beings and do research, gather research on who are they, what are they, where are they, what's it all about. I'm fascinated with that. I'm very, very fascinated with that. I'm interested in all things to do with discovering other dimensions, and that's certainly one. That's certainly one. I'm not personally interested in trying it. I mean, I guess I should probably, but I've got enough paranormal experience in my life that I'm not like I said, I believe it. I would do it, I guess, if I felt that there was reason to. Like, oh, you can gain something from this. You can benefit. This will help your spiritual practice. This will help you understand blah 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 blah, the things that I'm studying. If there were, again, so whatever. But not. I don't know. That's it. That's all I gotta say about that, I guess. Let's get back to. I'm going to talk over that commercial in the background. You have to be a thing, okay? If suffering doesn't teach you strength, then it's only teaching you how to be a slave. These are good. These are good points you're making, and they're very much, I'd say, rooted in there. Are kind of like, bio-spiritual way of experiencing and thinking about life. There's a great message there, and I definitely align and I vibe with that. I don't know that we're on the same frequency, though. Does that make sense? Like, I have my own kind of thinking or approach to those things. Anyway, moving on. Colin says, I am always perplexed by your precision and diligence with your single strokes. A kind of patience I truly lack. Wow. Inking is like martial arts in many ways. It really is. It's a flow state. And like, do you see how I'm like doing this and talking with you? Like, in a way that is just sort of natural. So when I spar, sometimes I'll have like full conversations with the people I'm sparring with. And I shouldn't do that. I really should not do that. But I should be focusing more. But I'm at a level where I can, where I'm capable of, doing a full on sparring session while just having a conversation casually, you know. That is a flow state. I'm trying to think of like what would be another way to explain it. Your body, your mind body state is so cultivated that you don't, it's on autopilot, kind of. Does that make sense? Kind of. I guess so. I don't know. I am going to move on to the next page. I feel like this is all I want to do on this page. Yes, this actually is the next page. Wow, man, I gotta do afternoon streams, man. All the best, not best. I got a lot of good friends in my evening streams. God bless them. But you guys are really, really exciting me with these interesting conversations. Hey, laddie, need a haircut. Huh. There's a Scottish thing I've been told. Are you from Scotland, Mr. Ray? Baw bag can be a Scottish slang. What is baw bag? I don't even know what that is. They're not benevolent. Okay, they just are. Also under MDMA, anyone sees these insects. Okay, and senile old people see these insects too. Wow, that eye turned out so perfect. Oh, thanks. Both of them. Sketch Shift by Lokesh. All right, welcome to Sketch Shift. Bruder says I kind of a kind of muscle memory. Yeah, for sure. There's a really, really high level of muscle memory. You're going into some deep territory here. Let me try to read the chat though. Mr. A says thinking is exactly like martial art. Well, I said inking, which is using the pen and ink to ink. But thinking could be a martial art, sure. You can flow and draw, and you're in the zone. Nature rules supreme. God bless you. That is a perfect statement. Okay, Mr. Lokesh, it's been a year since I've been drawing anime. I am able to copy them well, but how can I create my own characters? Woo! Oh God, ball bag. Okay, all right. Well, that's getting a little on the lowbrow end of humor there, but I hear you. Okay. Anyway, be creative. I mean, creating your own characters is freaking awesome. Now that you said that, I'm gonna pull out a folder of my characters. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Righty here. I just can't pull out the Scottish accent, guys. I don't know how. I gotta try though. Let's see. I can't do it. Anyway, so here's a character that I created called Song of the South. I thought we need to have a character who's like from the rebel South in America. I don't think there are any, so I know about the Southern rebel flag has these kind of stars in them. This is the hat that they wore during the Civil War. This kind of mustache beard was very popular among Southern gentlemen in the Civil War time. And then, I figured he'd probably be a good banjo player or something like that. I made the cape kind of triangular in a way, and not like flat at the bottom, so that it has just a unique quality, and that triangular shape echoes the shape around his chest here. So, like you can look at comics, for examples. This is a villain. This guy is it's kind of like a Muslim character who has this power of exploding. He can explode and then kill everyone around him. So I don't know. I thought if he can explode, he probably should have like really like heavy metal boots that can ground him so that he doesn't go flying. Just like little things like that. A lot of it is just fun superhero type designs. It's just a little bit metallic suit he's got on there. I'm trying to find some others that you might find interesting. This guy here is the Rioteer. So he's a guy who, is like riot control, and what he can do is he can duplicate himself into like many other copies of himself. So that's how he can go in and like on his whatever. It's like one of these force field shields and a stick, and then the R, just kind of superhero-y thing going on there. Some goggles, make him look cool. Some shoulder pads. You know, I always got to have some sort of a utility belt for something. There's going to be some reason in the story where they need to pull out a cell phone or handcuffs or some kind of thing like that. This character is a Odinist, Germanic, Celtic, not Germanic, a Celtic superhero, kind of, with these, you can see the Celtic symbols on there. She's a type of sorceress. She controls the powers of nature. And here's another thing is that the symbols on her uniform are at the ADL hate watch list. So the ADL has determined these indigenous signs and symbols to be hate symbols, so like creating a superhero character covered in them is my way of saying, fuck you, you do not get to tell us what our indigenous symbols mean. Go fuck yourselves. Okay, we are not, loving our people is not a hate symbol. Celebrating our indigenous religions is not a form of hate. And go fuck yourselves to ADL. So I think I'll probably, me, I get angry. I'm an angry guy. This is there's just some different characters that I've developed, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I don't want to turn the whole show into that, but I'll stop there. I'm going to get back to work. Maybe one last one. Just one more guy. Just one more guy. This guy is, if you guys have been following my old streams where I'm illustrating my own graphic novel, this character is called Westguard, and he's pretty much a fascist anti-hero. Hey, like them apples. Woohoo! Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting in trouble. What do we got here? Again, rules schmools. Yeah, thanks, bro. Let's read some chatty waddies. What do we got? Mr. A says, I think in this current age, one of the biggest drawbacks for a natural artist is modern day politics. There are too many rules in the blah 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 politics peeps to inspire real art. Well, artists are free. So, yes. Do you know who I am? Do you know my background? Do you know my history? I'm sort of a somewhat well-known influencer, I guess, in the white identity movement. I'm a founding member of the White Art Collective. I have I was just contacted by Arval from Return to the Land to create an art institute for Return to the Land, which is essentially creating a white ethno-state within the United States. I mean, I'm not just a guy that draws comics, you know what I mean? Like I'm involved in the movement. That endeavor is a really, really, really huge endeavor, involving a lot of people, and so I am working on kind of, how do I put this? Working on that. It's a big endeavor. So one of the things that I'll be doing is essentially calling forth, collectivizing and leading the artists in the right wing towards that cause and that project. So Yes, the left has kind of, what do you want to say, like monopolized the arts. They've weaponized the arts against Western civilization for quite a long time. I've talked about that. I've published articles on that. I used to be an art teacher. I'm a certified art teacher. So like I have a huge history in terms of like my niche is essentially the arts of the right wing, the arts of the white identity movement. So when you get a chance, I would urge you to look around my YouTube, check out the Imperium Art series, which is a kind of documentary where I interviewed many top influencers in our sphere, including Mark Collette and Frody Midyard and Joel Davis and Richard Spencer, Mark Brahman, lots of people that are pretty well known, and said, hey, what is the arts in our movement? What is the role of the arts in the white identity movement? And so that way we are controlling our narrative and that we have a documentary about this topic, So when the time comes when that, you know, goes mainstream, people will have some kind of academic resource to look at and say, oh, look, this Donald Kent guy did this work for us already. That way, you don't have hundreds of leftist jerk offs writing articles about us and our art and then like skewing the truth and lying and painting us as evil and blah 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 blah. All the usual shit that they do. So I've kind of carved out my niche in that regard, so much so that Arval of Return to the Land came to me to discuss this. I did ask him, to come on my show. I reached out to him first, so then from there, he explained to me, by the way, I have this project I want to do. I want to create an art institute. And then, conversation moved forward, and here we are. Here I go. Whew. So for me, I'll be honest, it's so big that it's the first time I've actually been somewhat intimidated by something this historically important and something of this scale. It's gonna change my life. It'll change my life, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to have to evolve. The conversation is just started within the Return to the Land community, which is already enormous and growing exponentially. All of our top influencers are behind it. Something is really, really taking shape here, guys. We've been so beat down and so black-pilled for so long that this is the first time, maybe not the first time, but this is certainly a historic time for us to celebrate that, we're gaining a kind of victory here, and that it's for real. It's not sort of something that just exists online. Whew, man, I'm exhausted from that big speech I just gave. Whoa! I think I need a glass of water. Let me take a little water break in a second here. I've got this appointment at 4:00, and I'm a little. You know how when you have a thing you gotta do that you don't want to do, and you think about it all day. So that's in the back of my mind. Anyway, hang on. And the music stopped. So. Maybe not. Hold on. Let's read on. Lokesh says they are great. I gotta do creative thinking. Yes, again, rules schmools. Victorian says, I don't mean to derail this awesome art discussion, but about these flags, that are being set up in England. They that are being taken down by the city council. So yeah, that's it's good. I mean, I like the activism of that. I hate with every atom of my being the globalists, the traitors that are doing what they're doing to Mother England. I'm really, really, really like. You're gonna need a lot of rope, guys. You're gonna need a lot of rope because that's a lot of necks that are gonna have to swing. And just last night I was on. Do you guys know Yiz? She's from the No White Guilt community, and she has a show called Discordant Dragons, and she has me on the show pretty not frequently, annually or regularly, I should say. So I was on the show last night, and one of the questions was, and we have people from the UK on the show. One of the questions was, what can people in the UK do to fight the system? And the guys on the show that are from the UK, I was not impressed with what they were saying. Of course, they're talking about the flag and how like it's a good thing. It is a good thing, and I won't take that away. I think 100% yes. But what I was saying is that you know before things get before the streets are running with blood, I would start doing targeted boycotting and targeted strikes. So look at, I believe you could call it, I think it's called the Velvet Revolution, Czechoslovakia, the Eastern Bloc countries under the Soviet Union. How did they overthrow a violent totalitarian government, communist government? Because that's essentially what you're in. It's just not called that. So not one, but two of the things that were effective in their revolution were mass, gigantic strikes and boycotting of targeted things in their society. And I don't know the exact. You can look those things up, but the key thing is like, well, what? Okay, like in Canada at one point they had a thing where all the farmers came out and blocked the highways or with their tractors or something. There were arrests. There's going to be arrests. Okay, but I mean, it's this. You have essentially three choices. You've got this kind of shutdown society strategy. You've got violence, or you have the third choice is that a slow, humiliating death, where England and Europe become Muslim, and you're all in, and whoever survives that, and who the fuck would want to survive that, will become slaves. And no, so like those are your choices. Those are hard fucking choices. They're hard fucking choices, and that's all I have to say. So like the legal answer is, is obviously start focusing on your strikes and your boycotting. Those things have to happen. Yeah, they have to happen. Cripple society. These are our demands. I mean, I think there's a lot of espionage that could be taking place. I definitely think that there's forms of espionage that could be going on, I'm not an expert in that. I don't know anything about that, but it just seems like obvious to me that something of that nature probably should be happening. Because you're clearly your governments are not your governments. They're enemy governments. They're infiltrated. They're controlled by foreign interests. You guys know what's going on. I don't need to tell you what's going on. You already know. But yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. And it's easy to say that over here in America with all our guns and our, some of our freedoms still intact, and But we're not far behind you. We're not far behind you. Honestly, there's other threats coming down the line in America. It's Palantir, it's AI. That's obviously not just going to affect us, but you know those things are happening. Anyway, let's read some comments. Colin says, I was going to say that the fascist halberd looks kind of rad, though. Thanks, good. Yes, I do. I'm trying to inspire Whack to cast a bigger net. Good, 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 good. With more art as the center because all good art is actually white. So I would like to talk to you more. Like maybe you could reach out to me on Gmail if you're interested in helping me to bring artists together and get behind that kind of thing. You can go to americanzarathustra@gmail.com. At my YouTube here, you can, if you just go to the homepage of the YouTube, you'll see my website, kent-art.weebly.com. There's a contact form there. That's another thing you can do. Victorian says, I appreciate your sentiment and I'm on your side, but we don't need to deride or belittle other art traditions. We can just be great. And if someone else is jealous, that's a problem. So I studied Japanese and Chinese art in Asia, and I mastered it. So I don't show you guys that stuff because it's not our culture, but like I have a deep love of Oriental Asian art, traditional art. The color revolutions are older than one might think. Oh, interesting, fascinating. Mr. A says to time traveler, but is art good because it's appealing or good because it's political affiliations? Art speaks for itself. That's why politicians hate us so much. So that's a massive ball of yarn right there. We could get into that, but it's lots of details. Express ourselves, 2 minutes. What they take 10 years of blabbering to do, sure. Yeah, cool. You know, I can talk quite a lot on the topic of, how to critique art, what is art, what makes good art. These are that's my wheelhouse, that's my zone right there. Um, the very, very first thing that I always tell people or teach people when I talk about those things is to become familiar with the language of art, which are what we call the elements and principles of art. So anybody can Google elements and principles of art and design, and you'll see, you'll see lists of what those things are. Um, a scale, pattern, form, color, line, shape. There's all these various things, the elements and principles of art. Sorry, elements and principles. So it's just like if you wanted to study jazz or classical or something, you would have to understand major and minor scales and, rhythm and blah, blah, blah. Like do music theory, to actually know what it is you're looking at or listening to. And then you'd be educated on the topic, so then you could then have a critical view of those things. You would then be equipped with the ability to critique those things. Everybody has an opinion. That doesn't mean you're right. You know what I'm saying? I think that there are, you can have an opinion, and that's important, but you have to be able to back it up with an argument based on understanding of the elements and principles of art. So like when I teach art, I start off by saying there's only two things you need to know. One is the question, what is it? The second one is, do I like it? Why do I like it or not? I should say that's a better. So, so what is it? You would then go into explaining using the language of elements and principles. Okay, it's this is the image. It's made of these things. It's using these various elements and principles to so like imagine that you're describing the painting to somebody over a phone, and I'm just using painting as an example. They can't see it, so you have to say, okay, well, it's a picture of a woman in a field carrying a jar on her head, and it's looks like it's sunset, and it was painted in France in 1815 by Jean-Pierre or something or other, and in the background there is a church steeple, and you can see evidence of farming equipment. But you know what I mean? Like that's actually, what the fuck is it? Like, what the fuck is the thing? Describe the damn thing. And then say, well, they're using mostly warm colors to describe the painting. It's highly realistic. It's very, very realistic. The woman appears to be a peasant, and but she's very beautiful, and blah, blah. And so as you're describing what is it, then people who you're talking to can say, oh, okay, yeah, and they might even see things in it that you didn't see, and then that's expanding on the experience of what is it. So then after all that, and you have to be very rigorous about that, then you can say, why do I like it or not? And then you can say, well, I like this painting because it shows an extremely high level of what's the word? Perfection. There's a word I'm looking for. The ability to paint well, like high skill level. There's a word. Proficiency. I don't know. There's a high level of skill in the paint handling. It's very romantic. It has a very romantic kind of mood to it that I vibe with, or something. It is a really good representation of the life and times of people in that era. Blah 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 blah. And so you see where I'm going with that. So it's not enough just to say, like, I don't like it, therefore it's bad. That's bullshit. That's fucking childish. That's not how. It's not how we operate in high civilization. And I really, really would love it if our people were more literate in this way. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to tell what's bad. We all know what's bad, and there's just like most of the goy shit that we have to endure in movies and TV is bad. For the various Marxist propaganda points and all the shit. So if we know that, that's fine. But if we're gonna make art, critique art, live around the art that is promoting our civilization and so forth, then we have to understand what the hell we're talking about. And that increases our in a sense, you could say you have taste and you have class, and to some extent. So, wow, what a fucking speech. Holy shizinskis. I can't believe I just said the F word. Express ourselves, reading on, they want us artists as serfs. So you are an artist, Mr. A. Is that what you're telling me? Whereas we express ourselves, impulse and inspirations. Dionysus is not the Jew. Thank you. Wow. Make a t-shirt. Dionysus is not the Jew. I like that. It's a good one. What kind of work do you do, bud? What's your medium? Would like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know. They want us artists as serfs. I already read that. Okay. Moving forward. Wow, man, this is a really dynamic conversation. The last two art streams that I did, I deleted because they were so boring. It's like, no, Fed man, I didn't delete them because I'm hiding some important information for you to report to your superiors. That's not why I deleted them. I just didn't have much to say. I was tired. I just focused on the art and didn't have a lot of interaction in the chat. So I was like, get rid of these. But this is the kind of show that I like to have, with cool people, cool conversations, good stuff, especially people from Europe. Like, I love my European brothers and sisters. For me as an American, it gives me a sense of going home. Like I feel re-energized, revitalized, you know? I guess you could probably understand that. I'm a musician. Okay. Well, when we, if you're able to email me, then we can chat about like Telegram groups and various other things. Colin says the latest Superman movie highlights that your foster family is more important than your genetic heritage. Picture whatever this might be foreshadowing. Oh man, don't get me started. James Gunn is a degenerate scumbag. He's on the Epstein list. I'm going to start off by saying he's on the Epstein list, okay? If you ever listen to interviews with him, he just he's I mean, he's like a spiritual Jew basically. He's put into a position of power for the very purpose of taking superheroes and pulling any value that is useful and connected to white culture standards values. He's there to destroy that. That is his purpose. And Superman, even though Superman is inherently Jewish, has many of those qualities. Like, I mean, the film is not. I mean, yeah, it made a lot of money because, of course, you're going to go see the new Superman film, but that doesn't mean people liked it. And there's a lot of pushback on, like, it's like, I'm Superman. I'm in touch with my feelings. I'm vulnerable. I'm not perfect. And like, oh, fuck's sake. The only like based cool, well, that's not entirely true. The Guy Gardner character was fun, but the black character, who I love, by the way, I love that character in DC Comics, and the actor and all that was very well done. Mr. Terrific, he was the only like real masculine guy out there. Hawkgirl was this like Mexican teenager. What the fuck? Are you out of your mind? Hawkgirl is on par with Wonder Woman in terms of her like power and prestige. She's a really, really high level kind of Pleiadian character, if you want to call it that, almost. She's from another planet. You don't, but to like turn her into, you get what I'm saying. I don't really want to go down that road. I actually reached out to Mark Collette and said, "Hey, dude, let's do a show on Superman." And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he just has not gotten back to me to schedule it. I should probably push a little bit harder on that and say, "Hey, let's set that up." Oh, I'm too exhausted with saying the same things over and over, though. It's funny how Superman is supposedly a Jewish power fantasy, but he resembles a white man. So he literally is he's the perfect, look at, it's so funny that I'm doing this too, because it's like a clone of a white man knocking out a white man. So let's go back. I'll give you the lowdown on Superman. So Siegel and Schuster are two Jewish creators, artist team, who created Superman in the 1930s, I believe. And so at the time, the very first story of Superman he was a villain. He was an alien villain, come to take over the world. Well, golly gee, isn't that called Zionism? Yeah. So anyway, and so, but to look at that, like that was a type of okay. Let's pull it back a little bit. The concept of the Ubermensch is the Aryan Superman, created by Friedrich Nietzsche. Okay, that is the origin of the concept of Superman. So that is ours. That's ours. That's not theirs, right? So you get two Jews who are like, okay, let's take that word and let's twist it around backwards and make it evil. Oh, the evil German Aryan Superman. He's come to rule the world. Ooh, he's bad. He's evil. You get that, and then they go, no, 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 no. That's no, no. Hold on. Let's. We gotta Jewify this. We have to Zionize this. Okay. No, no, no. He's a good guy, and he's all powerful, but he's a refugee. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. And he comes from a planet that was destroyed, and he's the last of his kind, and he's a refugee, and so he lives with right in Kansas, right in the heart of America. He's couldn't be more white than just like the rest of us, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So then, and he'll grow up in a farmland, and Clark Kent. Okay, so you know what? He's gonna go into journalism. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because controlling the news narrative, who else does that? Golly gee, who else does that, right? Okay, of course the Jews. And so he's going to go into journalism, and because he's all about truth, justice, and the American way. Right, 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 right. According to what? And so hey kids, we're all the same. We Americans, we're black, white, red, green, purple. It's just a piece of paper. It's the Constitution that makes us Americans. And hey, be nice to your immigrant neighbors and da da dee dee da da. So you see where I'm going with that? It's the perfect. It's like we're gonna pretend to be you so that we can subvert you. That's Judaism 101. That's 109 countries. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? So Superman is the absolute perfect crystallization of Jewishness in that way. If there are good Jews and good, of that, come out and show yourself and raise your hand and prove yourselves, because we don't have any evidence of that yet. Right now, if you look at, you guys already know this stuff. I don't want to kind of repeat all of those talking points, because you wouldn't have come to this channel and known how to get this far if you didn't already know all those things. So, but this is part of why I'm into superheroes and comics and all these things, because it's a type of mythology, and we have to create our own mythology. Look at the superheroes I just showed you. Okay, like a superhero for Southerners, the rebel South, a superhero for fascism, who is really third position, but it represents, unity, God, nation, and family. Sorry, God, family, and nation. Those are the three pillars of that. It's not corporations versus communism. It's not capitalism versus communism. It's third position, which is people first. Okay? So anyway, sorry, I get really preachy on this show. If you don't like it, sue me. He is the Jewish fantasy that some Jew can mix with an Anglo and has black hair, but it's tall, built, passes human. Colin says your mother has to be Jewish for you to be Jewish for sure. Materialism derives from the latter. Matter equals mother. Ooh, fascinating. Good point. The press issue. Yeah. So I'm not doing my work. I'm not inking. I'm talking. So this is the thing. I have to. I don't know. I could just get into one of these like yeah rah, like do a course on Aryanism or something. Anyway, their own parents would betray them. That is the biggest Jewish problem. Many of them are like us, converted to some Jew religion and threatened within their own family. So I think there's the rare Jew who converts to Christianity, or who goes full throttle on exposing the Jews. I got to remember his name. He's a dude in like. It's like a comedian turned vlogger who is like super hardcore anti-Zionist, and his name's slipping my mind right now. I see his face. Dave Smith. I don't know. Obviously, Smith is not a Jewish name. Then you've got that Orthodox Jew. Well, he's not Orthodox Jew. He turned into a Christian Orthodox, and Brother Nathaniel. He's super hardcore in exposing Zionism. So the reality is that Judaism is not a religion, it's an ideology. And there might be spiritual things in there, But what matters and what's affecting us in reality is the ideology of Judaism. You can say the same thing for Islam. Islam is not a religion, it's an ideology wrapped in a religion, you know. So I guess I'm going to get kicked off YouTube in 10 seconds. David Cole, is that his name? I'd have to look it up, and in order to do that, I'd break the stream. But I feel like I've hit my max here because this is the second stream I've done today, and I feel like I'm gonna wrap it up here though, just because I'm talking so much and not working, and I'm off on a tangent here. So I will let you guys go. You can contact me by email if you like. I will try to do more afternoon streams on my days off. My schedule jumps around a little bit, but I will try to do this more for you. Okay. Judaism is the epitome of bhakti yoga. Oh my God. The teaching that subdued the God will lead to moksha. Holy jeez, man. Dude, that's heavy, man. Oh my God, dude. You just dropped a bomb there, bro. That was heavy. It's a religion. It's an ethnic. Wait, it's a religion. It's an ethnic group. It's a race. It's a philosophy. It's all of those things all at once. Anyway, great stream. I'll email you. Very good. Hey, the stream was good because you guys were on it. Okay, if I didn't have really amazing people to talk to, this wouldn't have been such a cool stream. So I appreciate you super much. All right, God bless. We will do more afternoon streams. I'm only off like 2 days a week, but you know, whatever. Hit this the what do you call that little bell thingy, notification bell. All right, God bless you. Last thing here, I'm gonna read what you got to say. We all need to stop letting them play this game of it's not a race, it's a religion. It's not a religion, it's a philosophy. Da 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 da. Race, merry-go-round. Yeah. All right. Stay real. God bless. Be good, and we'll see you next time. Hail our people.